months ago, when he first started to play for the Indian cricket team, my guest took the country by surprise. Friends and critics together said that India had found its missing opening batsman. Here to tell us his own story in his own words is the young man himself, Aakash Chopara. Welcome to the program, Aakash.
Thanks a lot.
Let's start with your name. Is it true that you were named after a Rajesh Khanna character from Aapki Kasam?
Yeah, I believe. I didn't know it for very long, but recently I've come to know that my parents watched this movie long time ago, Aapki Kasam, and Rajesh Khanna and Mumtaz were named Aakash and Ekta in that movie. So at that time they decided if they have a son and a daughter, they'll name them after them. So that's how I got my name, I guess.
And have you ever seen this movie, Aapki Kasam?
I haven't.
So there's a real possibility that you might hate the character you're named after.
But I like my name, so it doesn't matter.
But in fact, it wasn't just a Rajesh Khanna character. They were also very keen to ensure that your name began with A.
Yeah, it has a reason behind it actually. They wanted me to be the first. They didn't want me to be behind, and like the alphabetically you end up like even in roll numbers, if you're in a class, you get first roll number if your name starts with A, and they ensured it even further that A after an A, so that I'll be first everywhere.
Quite right, yes. Akash in your case is spelled AA.
Definitely, yeah, it is.
They left absolutely no doubt.
No doubt at all.
Now, as a child, you grew up listening to stories from the Mahabharata. But I gather there was one in particular that your father really liked to tell you.
Yeah, it was about Arjun and the way he was always like looking at the eye of the bird when everyone else was looking about the tree and the leaves and the fruits, and even the people who saw bird, they didn't focus on the eye, and that's what my father always told me, that you have to focus on the eye to hit it.
So from the word go, there was always a message behind every story he told you.
Yeah, definitely, he has a message behind every story. And there was one more story actually. It was about Eklavya, that he gave his thumb to Guru Dron when he asked that. So that was one more thing that he taught me. Whatever you become one day, you owe a lot to your coach.
In other words, Guru Dakshina has been instilled into you from the word go.
Exactly, they did that.
Cricket, of course, was an early passion. How exactly did you become fond of the game?
I really don't know how I got interested into the game, but as long as I remember, I was like always wanted to become a cricketer, and I was very clear in the thought that I will become a cricketer one day, and that's what happened. And it all followed, it all started, I guess, when I was 5 or 4 at that time. And
is that when your parents said you devised a very clever way of practicing inspired by Don Bradman?
It was a little bit later after that, once I joined the club and I heard everyone speaking about that, like Bradman used to play with the ball hanging with the wire on the roof and hitting with the bat. But hitting with a bat was a bit more monotonous and was far too easy actually, hitting a stationary ball with a bat. So I started hitting with it with a stump. So it was becoming a bit more tough, because hitting a stationary ball with a bat can be relatively easier at times. So that's how it started.
Except that when it came to bat, your parents said that you used to break up the furniture in school to create your own bat.
Yeah, we did that in the school because we were not allowed to take bats to the school. So, but we need to play. Nobody could stop us. So we used to break furniture to make something similar to the bat, and used to play with that.
So when Akash came to school, the chairs and tables were in real danger.
Yeah, they were.
The funny thing is that despite all of this, your father says you were an ideal child.
It's actually nice of them to say that, and I was not mischievous. I was
not at all?
Not much, actually. They should be the one to be asked. But yeah, I was always into the cricket, and they liked it. And I was a bit like quite sincere about my studies, so they were like quite happy with it, that as long as I'm studying, they didn't stop me from anything to do. And playing is definitely a better thing to do rather than loafing around and standing on the streets and doing nothing worthwhile.
You know, you're absolutely right when you say that you were sincere about your studies, and you did quite phenomenally well. But there was one subject that you were never very good at. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was Sanskrit, because it was a tough one. We didn't have a clue about Sanskrit, and we don't even speak that language at all. So that was one thing, actually a gray area, where I ended up even cheating till 8. So I knew you were about to come up to that. And yeah, but that was only in the class terminal exams, not in the final ones, because once you get caught in final ones, you are in big trouble.
So today, after all those years of studying and cheating at Sanskrit, do you remember any Sanskrit, or have you forgotten it all?
Maybe a couple of slokas.
And that's it.
That's it.
In fact, whenever you were mischievous, your father was always very understanding, wasn't he? I gather there was a time when you ran away from school to see Hum Aapke Hain Kaun.
Exactly. And we couldn't find the tickets. So we ended up getting the tickets for the front row and we watched the movie from there. And I came back home, told him that we watched this movie sitting in the front row, and he was like, he got angry that we should have told him, and he could have got us the balcony tickets and we could have watched it from there. So that was his way of supporting.
So the next time you wanted to bunk school and see a movie, you rang your dad first to say, can you arrange the tickets?
Exactly, that's how it happened.
Now, actually, in those early days, yours was a very close-knit family, wasn't it?
Ours was a very close-knit family, me, my sister, and my parents. So we had this nuclear family. So we didn't have much to talk about others, like our relatives or anything. So we were like sharing everything with each other. Whatever problem one was facing, it was our problem. So that's how it all started.
Which means that your parents and your sisters weren't just mummy, daddy, and sister. They were, in fact, your closest friends.
They were definitely. They knew inside out. They knew everything what I was doing in school. They knew when I was bunking classes. They knew what I was doing. And even it's the same for Ekta. Whatever she was doing, even I knew it, that what she was doing, even though she was elder to me.
She was, in fact, even though she was older than you, one of your closest supporters, wasn't she?
Yeah, definitely. She has that dream, even maybe more than what I was dreaming of. She had this dream of seeing me as a cricketer, and she did her best, whatever she could.
She kept a scrapbook, didn't she?
She did keep a scrapbook to keep all the cuttings, the newspaper cuttings I used to get those days. She used to carry my bags when I had to go to the practice. She used to take me to the school on bicycle. She used to drive it, and yeah, so it was. She used to do a lot for me.
You were her baby brother, and she spoiled you.
To a certain extent, she did, but yeah, I used to be a pampered kid. You can be a pampered kid, and while you are playing and studying at the same time, you need a bit more attention, and that's what I got, I guess.
Sadly, she died in rather tragic circumstances when she was just 21 years old.
Yeah, that was a sad day actually. What happened? She was very religious. She used to light that jyot in the morning after the puja, and we all were sleeping at that time. It was like in summers, and all the coolers were on. So much of noise at that time, and she had to go to a friend, and she had this. She did all this. She had the bath, and she did her puja, and she had this big bottle of nail remover, not the small one, but the real big one. And she didn't realize that she had spilled it on her clothes. And if you spill it on the floor, it will evaporate, but it won't from the clothes. And nobody knew it, even we didn't till we had to face it. So it just caught fire, and we took her to the hospital.
While she was praying,
Yes,
it caught fire.
Yes, while she was praying, she caught fire. We took her to the hospital. She was recovering well, but then in the burn cases, if infections are a major danger, and after a month of hospitalization, she was recovering well, but then got this infection and passed away.
You were only 18 at the time.
Yeah, I was.
It must have shattered you.
Yeah, it did. It was a major shock for our whole family, especially for my mother, because she was like 21. The bestest friend you can have, you can find, that definitely was her mother. And then, of course, me and my father was again at the receiving end.
One of the ironies or paradoxes is that this horrible accident happened at the moment that she was actually praying. In a way, does that give you comfort that God called her at a time of prayer?
Yeah, that's the way we looked at things. That's the way my parents actually made me think that way. They did that, and it was very nice of them to. It was actually very brave of them to go through all that. And I guess God only gives you strength to go through all these periods, and that's how that even we were religious before, but the faith only got strengthened, and we ended up becoming a bit more religious and having faith in God a bit more than that.
But you were only 18 at the time. Did you ever ask the question, why Ekta and why God in this way?
I did. I had a long conversation with God. I cried in that. It was, and somehow after that, maybe I got some answer from somewhere that it was for her best, and whatever has happened, I'm the only child left now, so it was up to me. A lot of things were up to me then. So it gave me strength. It made me bit more mature, a bit more responsible towards my family.
And in a way, you probably feel that Ekta is with you always in spirit.
Yeah, definitely, because more or less I feel that I'm living her dream also, and she is everywhere. She's watching me from somewhere, and her blessings, her wishes are always with me.
You have an angel in heaven looking after you.
Sorry.
You have an angel in heaven looking after you.
Exactly. She is. She's there. She's always there to look after me.
In the last 9-10 years, you have yourself become very religious. God and religion and prayer is an important part of your life.
Yeah, they are a very important part of my life now, and maybe that's what I said. God, if God gives you any hardship, He gives you strength to go through it, and that's how I've developed that. And I have been reading a lot. I have been reading a lot about positive thinking and the power of prayers, and I've been very convinced with that, and definitely a bit more religious. Though I'm coming from a very religious family, so maybe it has been instilled with me since my childhood. I've seen my parents going to a temple every day for the last 15 years, and going to Vaishno Devi every 2-3 months. So it's in with me for a very long time now.
Akash, let's take a break. I want to come back in part 2 and talk about cricket. Talk about those gorgeous moments when the whole country has been applauding with you. We'll be back in a moment's time. Don't go away. Welcome back. My guest is Aakash Chopara. Akash, let's talk about your cricket. They say that serious cricket really started when you joined the Sonnet Club. Do you remember the day your father first took you to meet Tarak Sinha?
Yeah, I can't forget that moment actually. I was all of 6 years of age at that time, and he took me to DAV college to meet him and to learn a few things about cricket. And he asked me, "Oh, so what exactly can you do?" I said, I'm an all-rounder. I bowl fast, I bat, and I do everything else what is supposed to be done. So he taught me how to catch a ball. So that's how it all started, and I practiced catching the ball for next 1 year. Religiously, I practiced that with my dad and wherever I could. So that's how it all started.
And then you went back, and this time you were 7 years old, and he put you through a test. And the test was how to catch a ball.
Exactly. It was under 15 trials at that time in Firozshah Kotla, and our coach, Mr. Tarshana, happened to be the coach of Delhi at those days. And the first day, he used to eliminate children, like players who couldn't catch a ball. So I was all of 7 at that time. I was very short in height and very lean guy. And he threw a very high catch, and I could manage to hold on to one. And to everyone's surprise and to his also, he thought it's a fluke. So give him another chance, and maybe he'll drop and he'll eliminate me there itself, because he didn't know that I came to him a year ago and what exactly is all happening. So I happened to manage. I happened to catch that ball also, but I was so weak I couldn't throw it to the keeper. Keeper was a bit too far for me. So, but the next day my dad came with me to the trials, and he spoke to coach Mr. Tarak Sinha, and I got the batting that day, and balls flew over my head because I was the height of the stumps only, and a bit too young at that time. So he said, okay, fine, another 2 years, and you can come back to the club at the age of 9.
And you did.
Yeah, I did.
But in fact, when you joined, you didn't do much playing. For the next 2 years, you spent most of your time keeping score.
Yeah, that was my way of actually being with the team, because I was so young that it was very nice of him to make me bat in the nets only, because I was the youngest kid around. So they used to take me to the ground. They used to take me with every team. Like we had 3 teams at that time for the club, and I used to go with every team, and I used to score only, because I became a decent scorer, and I was quite lucky for that team. We won not many matches in that period of time. We even toured, and as a scorer, I used to tour with the team and go to places like Meerut or Alwar, and go there and just do scoring.
You became, in a sense, the lucky mascot of the team.
I did for a period of time, and people were saying, okay, keep him as a scorer. And sir used to say, come on, it's his time to play. He has to become player, not a scorer here.
The thing is that you did begin playing, and you began playing extremely well. It was in October 97 that you made your Ranji debut. Is it very true that Raman Lamba ensured that you got to play?
Yeah, he did. Late Mr. Raman Lamba, actually, I have very high regard for him. He was the one who sat out for me. He said that only I am injured, only if Akash is playing. Otherwise, I'll play. So he made sure that I was played in that game because it was I had this feeling, or I had this feelers from everywhere that if I won't play in this match, I'll be dropped from the squad even without giving a single chance. So like my coach spoke to Raman Bhaiya, and our captain Ajay Bhaiya spoke to him also that the only chance this lad is going to have is this one. So if you can do him a favor, and he did that, and he said that he has done it in. That was the only time he has cheated cricket in 20 years, and he did it for me. So,
But you rewarded him hugely, didn't you? Because you went on to score an incredible 150.
yeah, I was lucky enough to get 150 in the debut game itself, but it didn't please him at all. He was happy, but he was very annoyed that I couldn't get to a double
Because
century.
he was scared that, okay, he wasn't scared that you were going to take his place
No,
permanently.
not at all. He was like very annoyed with me that I couldn't score a double century, and he was because first all the way, all 6-8 hours I batted. He was all the way. He was shouting and he was screaming and he was appreciating. And when I got out, he really got upset. Even though he was happy from inside, but he was very upset with me that I missed a double century.
Your dad wasn't upset. He gave you a wonderful, generous gift, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did give me a car. He presented me a car because they thought that going to play Ranji Trophy cricket with a huge bag on a two-wheeler will be far too risky. And after that century, they thought that I'll be there in first class cricket for a few years. So they presented
So it
me
was a
car.
good investment.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly.
Now, 6 years later, in October 2003, you got chosen to play for India for the first time. I gather the first person you went to was your coach, Tarak Sinha.
Yeah, I called him. He was the first person I spoke to after I got the news of being selected. And yeah, I owe him a lot, whatever little I am.
So this is the Eklavya story that you told us in part 1. In a sense, coming through, you were repaying to him what you owe him.
I cannot repay him actually what I owe him because he owe me a lot. But definitely, whatever little I can, I'm doing it.
Would you agree that Tarak Sinha perhaps has been the most important person in your cricketing career?
Definitely, he's the most important person in my cricketing career because whatever little I am, it's because of him. Even I went to him at the age of 6. He told me how to hold a catch and then how to hold a bat and how to stand in a stance, how to play every single shot. Everything I am today. Whatever I've learned, it's just because of him.
Now, let's talk a little about that first game that you played, the first test against New Zealand. You scored on your very first run.
Yeah.
Did you consider that auspicious?
Yeah, it was because there was so much of nerves going on. There was so much of tension and butterflies in the stomach. And Viru told me, Akash, you're supposed to face because he doesn't face the first ball. And I usually like to face the first ball. But test match is definitely a different scenario altogether. So I got the first run on the first ball itself, and it calmed my nerves. And from there, the things started moving on.
In fact, you moved on really well because you went on to score, what was it, 42 in the first innings, 31 in the next?
Exactly.
And then 60 and 52 in the second test.
Exactly.
It was actually quite a dream start in many ways.
It was not exactly a dream start, but definitely satisfactory. At one level, it was very satisfactory, and at another level, I was a bit disappointed the way I got out in the first inning of Test cricket I played. I should have scored a century on the debut because it was there for the taking.
What went wrong? Confidence or bad luck?
It was sheer overconfidence actually.
Overconfidence.
Overconfidence.
Not lack of confidence.
Not lack of confidence. It was overconfidence because I got 100 something runs and 60 something runs in two side games against the same side, New Zealand. So I was like playing the same bowlers again. After a certain point of time, I went into my comfort zone that okay, fine, it's nothing new for me. And that's when it all happened. And Test cricket is all about this only, I guess.
And you know that this is a sort of criticism, perhaps the only criticism that people have made of you. They say that very often you come close to 50, but fail to cross 50, fail to get 100. It happened in Melbourne, it happened in Sydney, it happened in Multan.
Yeah, this is one area I've been thinking a lot about, and people are talking a lot about. And I guess the things will definitely improve from here on because for an opener, I feel the starts are really important because invariably you get out early, there's new ball, new bowlers, and fresh bowlers. The wicket is totally like fresh and I always have a bit for the bowlers in the start. And if you can go through that period, you should go on to score a big one. This is one area I really want to improve, and I've got 5 months down the line for me where I can work on. I've spoken to people.
So that's your target in the next 5 months.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward
Get
to
over
that.
this mental obstacle.
Exactly, it's all mental, because if it was technical, I wouldn't have got starts. I wouldn't have reached 40s against these bowling attacks what I've faced. So if it's not technical, then this mental thing has to go out at some point.
Now, there are two gorgeous moments in your career that everyone remembers. The first was the Boxing Day test in Melbourne, when a Nathan Bracknell delivery hit you straight on the head.
Yeah,
Was that a dreadful moment? Did it hurt?
it did. I was very dizzy after that, and that was one moment actually I was talking about even before the tour started, the Boxing Day test match and batting on the Boxing Day. And it was like 70,000 crowd capacity, Melbourne crowd, and that was the first time I was playing in front of such a huge crowd. And I got hit. I was feeling dizzy. The physio came out, asked me what day it is, where we are, and questions like that. So there was, and then Viru was on the other end, said, if you're not feeling well, you can go out at any point of time. But I chose to stay there because I think that this is the opportunity, this is the day,
And you were determined to show that you were going to do it.
exactly, and I didn't want anyone to feel that an Indian is scared and he'll go off if he's got hit. I thought
you scored an amazing 47 as well.
yeah, again missed the 50, but definitely it was a good partnership, 140 runs partnership to start with, and that was a great start for the team.
Now, the other wonderful moment that no one can forget was in Multan just recently, that amazing one-handed catch of Abdul Razak.
Yeah, that's one position actually I've started enjoying standing there because honestly speaking, I'm not a short leg fielder from the start. I field it close in, that's preferably at slip. But the short leg thing came only after I made my debut. I managed to take a few good catches in the debut test itself in Ahmedabad, and from there it started rolling over. And yeah, definitely this catch in Multan, that was a special one.
It just fell into your hands, but it couldn't have been as easy as that, was it?
It was, and these catches actually they usually stuck. If they stick, they stick, and if they don't, they don't. But I'm on the luckier side. I have been sticking a few.
Do you think there was a bit of luck as well?
Yeah, you need luck at that time because it's that the pace the ball comes to you and the matter of time, the time you have, the reaction time, it's just far too less. So you have to have the hand at the right position to get the catch and to grab it when it hits. So it has a.
You mean to use Maradona's phrase in another context, it was the hand of God that did it.
Exactly.
Huh?
Exactly, in a different context.
Are these moments when you say to yourself, God is definitely on my side?
Yeah, God is definitely on my side. There are umpteen moments in my life that have made me believe that God is definitely on my side.
Aakash Chopra, a pleasure getting to know you.
Same here.